right now as we go into our first best of three of the day. And what a way to start out the best of three. No, well, not a way to start the best of three. I mean, whoa, a loading screen, Wardy. Wow, never saw that one coming. But what a way to start the day. ByuN and Sol, honestly, I wish this was the second match of the day so I could have a little bit of time to warm up, a little bit of time to turn my brain on to the StarCraft, look at the mini-map, all that kind of stuff. But no, that is not allowed. We start on Jagannath, a big map. It feels very Zerg-friendly. It looks like we're going to have a Reaper opening from ByuN, who's our red Terran in the bottom left-hand side. Now, you might have seen ByuN playing some Reapers when I cast that show match the other day, ByuN vs. Rogue. That was proxy Reapers. This looks like it'll be racks, third racks in base, maybe just 2 racks. Either way, ByuN's Reaper control looked absolutely on point, so excited to see what he comes out with here. As in the top right-hand side, his opponent will be Solar, the blue Zerg player, in the top right side of Jagannath to get us started here today. Our first map, our first best of 3. So as our multi-racks, I mean, it's just this depot on the low ground. If you're not going to go multiple racks to fully wall off, it makes no sense to go for this depot on the low ground, because then you go depot, racks, another depot. Like, it's just not good, right? And this is actually going to be 3 racks right off the bat, so ByuN is bringing 3 racks Reaper back. You know, there's been a few players who have done this since the Reapers got nerfed, and, well, since ByuN got the Reapers nerfed. Obviously, this was ByuN's kind of signature play. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, a few players have still done it, and a few players still do it. Killer Ziggy. No one really on the top level. Every now and then you'd see maybe like a 2 racks Reaper, so, you know, something like Special would bring it in. But it's just not super common. So I'm really intrigued to see what ByuN can do with these Reapers, see what Solar's response to them is going to look like. I know I haven't been able to keep up with all the games I've wanted to lately. I know ByuN and Solar have played a few times recently, so I'm not sure if this is something that maybe ByuN has already done to Solar in the last few weeks, because they've been playing a lot of little Korean tournaments that I'm waiting to be able to cast. I've got the replays, I'm just looking for the time to cast them. So, yeah, kind of intrigued to see what Solar's response will be, kind of intrigued to see how much ByuN can get out of it. Obviously, the other thing here is it's a long map, so it takes a long time for the Overlord to pick up the information that this is 2 racks, 3 racks Reaper. I mean, this Overlord sees it now as a Reaper runs past it. As we do have our Reaper fighting against these few lings. Doing a decent job there so far. Second Reaper about to show up. And now going to bop the Queens. The Queen already taking quite a bit of damage, and honestly, if I was Solar right now, I'd be like, really? This is back? Like, god damn it, you know, we had a year and a half of peace on the ladder without having Reapers showing up in multiple numbers at my base at like 2 minutes. And here we are. ByuN comes back, and he's already bringing the Reapers back, baby. Yeah, it's a frustrating start to play against, but you've got to be so good with it. He gets a Queen already. That's amazing. It's so momentum-based. It snowballs heavily, right? So losing a Queen already, really weakens you to the future pushes, because now that's one less standing unit that can stand and fight these Reapers. As the Reaper count goes up, it is just going to be more and more Lings. Ling speed is on the way. Thing is, this Queen here now won't have a transfusion, I want to say buddy, someone to transfuse it. You know, whereas that other Queen being alive, that maybe would have happened. So now that second Queen goes down, and this is what I mean about it snowballing. One thing dies, and that leads to the next thing dying. And this Reaper count is getting crazy. Now, Ling speed kicking in, this is where it becomes important as well. ByuN obviously wants to get rid of as many Zerglings as possible before the Ling speed comes into play. Good micro, pulling the hurt Reapers back. Good grenade. He nearly loses a Reaper. But of course, it's ByuN, so he doesn't actually now pull in the hurt ones to the back. There is a transfusion down, so the Queen is saved as the Ling speed kicks in. Good couple grenades so far. The Reaper micro is still on point. Pulling him back, he's going to lose a couple extra. He lost 3 Reapers here. Now he's going to get back in to kill a Queen again. He loses 1 Reaper for that Queen dive. But the problem is now you don't have the Zergling count. Your Zergling count's been reset. The Reaper count's still good. You get another Korean, and you want that Creep Tumor as well to stop the Zerg getting out onto the map a little bit more. Anything you can do to limit speed of these Zerglings, to limit movement, is going to be a benefit to you, as the Lings continue to chase, but they're going to get, what, 2 Reapers? For so many Lings all over again, and now look how far out of creep this Queen is. So this Queen's basically a goner. It's going to go down, no doubt about it. It has no way to get back to group spread in time. And that means the other one is in the exact same position. The Reaper's pulling back once again, now getting back into the position. And it's freaking disgusting, man. We haven't seen Reapers beat pro Korean Zergs for like years. And then ByuN comes back and, you know, it took him a while to show the Reapers, but yeah, he can still Reaper. Who knew? I mean, right now, the big thing here is the third hatchery did go up for solo, so that's a benefit. Sometimes you can delay that third hatch until 5 minutes with the proxy, not proxy rack, sorry, but the 3-rack Reaper. ByuN still making Reapers at home, has gone into a factory. His expansion obviously up. Obviously, the power of walling off with those barracks means you're in a very safe spot. You only have one weak point to defend in case of a bait and burst or so. And the best part about spawning on this side of the map, Tech Lab can go down here, and that's going to be your stim pack upgrading in a very safe position as well. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I guess both these sides of the map kind of let you take a Tech Lab safely because of the way the wall works. Like, you couldn't take this Tech Lab here. You could take one here behind the racks. Yeah, it's actually interesting. I think you can put a Tech Lab on here. Maybe you just quite can't. Yeah, well, we'll see anyways what he ends up doing, but either way, he's going to be able to put a Tech Lab in a fairly safe position, even if he has to re-wall a little bit. Man, still building Reapers is what surprises me. Obviously, every Reaper that you build is, you know, gas being spent. Solar sees the Reapers still out here. He's making medevacs, so he's going to have healing for these Reapers as well. It's kind of a huge deal. Yeah, he's actually just gonna go. He's got 17 Reapers, so he's gonna put 16 of them in 2 medevacs. And is he actually just gonna drop the Reapers? The Reaper drop? No? Okay, he's just gonna run across the map. It doesn't feel like it's really necessary to drop the Reapers, because then obviously you've got to go through the unload animation, and that takes a while, so it does make more sense to run across. Of course, Solar can't just blindly build up units against this, because he has to catch up on drones because of all the earlier pressure. He's not had a chance to drone so far, so he has to play catch-up for a while, and now these Lings show up. And this medevac healing, we'll see how well it can do. No grenades just yet. ByuN just happy to step back and let the Reapers do their thing, and one of the medevacs nearly goes down. He's going to jump in the main base. Those Queens are out of position to defend. He is going to lose one of the medevacs, but, I mean, Lings are going to pour in a couple at a time. Yeah, I mean, the first Queen went down. The second Queen was going to go down. The Queens at the front are out of position. What the hell are you meant to do when ByuN controls like that? Reapers are back, baby. Reapers are back. It's also a fact that, you know, it's not just ByuN, but it's also the fact that not many people, especially in the Korean scene, have done this in a long time. So there's also that factor of Zergs just figuring it out a little bit again. Like, in theory, they know what they need to do, but in practice, you gotta go through those motions, right? Of protecting that first Queen, you know, making sure you make, you know, figuring out when you make Lings and stuff. Maybe what scenarios it's good to make Roaches in. Those are the things that this build is, you know, that the Zergs have kind of... It's the little things that go a long way, and it's the little things that are easy to forget when you've not played against this sort of style frequently for years. Bottom left-hand side, we do have our blue Zerg player. Is Solar. And the top right is ByuN. I actually don't think I introduced ByuN. My bad. WardiTV released the replays of the tournament. Yes. These replays will go out to Twitch subscribers on the Discord, or Patreon pledges of $5 or more on the Patreon. So that's patreon.com/WardiTV. Obviously, subscribe on Twitch, !Discord if you want to get to the Discord server. It's discord.gg/WardiTV. Head on over there anyway. We still need a few more people to talk every week to help us keep our Discord partnership, so if you could help us out with that, that would be amazing. Again, that's !Discord in the chat, and you can get your sub replays in there too. And that also goes out if anyone's watching on YouTube. If you want to become a YouTube member, there's a little join button below the video. It's $5 a month as well, and that will also give you access to the replay packs via the Discord server as well if you're interested. So you can get these replays to watch them yourself in-game. Really go in depth on your analysis of ByuN. Be like, okay, so what he did was he made one Reaper, then he made two, then he made two more, and then he killed stuff. And then he controlled, like, I'm never going to control my life, so I should just scrap looking at this and look at the next game along. At the same time, obviously, you know, if you are a lower league player, and you're like, oh, how am I ever meant to make that work? Well, you know, it's difficult for Zergs as well. You know, it's difficult on your opponent's side as well. Your opponent, you're forcing them to multitask. You'll force them to maybe miss injects. They're not going to be as good at pulling queens and lings back against the Reapers, so it's not impossible to make it work, guys. It's not impossible. I believe in you all. I believe in you all. Go out there and slay that ladder, guys. Use these replays to your advantage. Best of 3 in all of the matches in this group B of the Fallen Leaves Invitational. As we do have a Zergling making its way up through to the top side. Starport is down in the main base, and the command center building up on the natural expansion as well. Then gets taken down. Overlord just hanging out overhead, and the orbital command of ByuN is going to be finishing in just a few moments. A couple of Hellions will make their way out down to the bottom side of the map. It's a medevac, so we are going to see this little bit of a drop play. This is actually interesting because he's gone into reactor marines, and the factory has a tech lab. A very weird way of doing things. Are we going to see? I almost want to say, are we going to see like an armory to morph in Hellbats? But then there's only 3 Hellions. It's going to be an early siege tank. Wow. Very funky build. Only 3 Hellions is obviously way off from anything you'd expect to usually see. Look at this. Solar is convinced that this is something aggressive. He's building a spine crawler. So Solar is completely... I mean, he's not wrong. This medevac's going to come across the map with Marines, maybe? He sees this Overlord, he'll just show the first few Marines. This really makes it look like a Hellbat attack. In the sense that you see those 3 Marines, and you definitely start thinking, I think, at least a little bit of potential of Hellbats here. Still an unfortunate supply block, though. Losing that OV now means he can't build stuff for a while. What does he build out of this next set of units? Okay, he is going to go more drones. It's the right call. I think he's okay anyway, because with the spine crawl, he actually cancelled the spine. Okay, he obviously made a read that. He also obviously decided that with the timing of things, that there wasn't actually aggression coming. But even still, it's money that he spends on the spine that could have already been 2 more drones. It's 1 drone that goes to build the spine that then isn't mining for a while. +1 melee, +1 carapace on the way in the main, or in the natural, sorry. And a few Hellions still down the right side. And pick off a creep tumor already here, and just going to be seeing a few Marines of ByuN out to the left. Marines and a couple tanks. Just going to be boosted on forward, going to be joining up with this other medevac. So it's going to join in here as the few Hellions of ByuN going to go around the left side as well. All these medevacs joining together, and we do have the Baneling Nest down in the natural. That building up from Solar in the main. It's honestly still kind of a weird play, right? I mean, a Marine tank drop at this stage is not what you expect. I mean, there's no stim or anything. Ling's going to chase down the Hellions, but this main base is just completely open to attack. This is just so strange. Like I say, it's not something you usually see. The tanks obliterate the first few drones they get their hands on, so they go down, and yeah, you got the lair under fire here in the main base right now. He's going to get a little bit of extra HP as it finishes morphing into the lair. Lings are going to have to commit into this. There's no 2 ways about it. He's target firing the Lings right now, putting some damage onto those. I think quite important to take those down as low as possible. The medevacs, I mean, there's a lot of them, so there's good healing here. The Hellions have added time for third base as well. We'll check in on those in a second. That's where the drone kills are coming from, but the Marines are going to survive this fight. There are the Hellions chasing drones out to the right-hand side, and 11 workers down, and ByuN is going to get 13 drones. I mean, the fact he's traded out for so much in the main base is also fantastic. Oh, he nearly got that queen, but the transfuse was last second. Wow, 13 workers. The Hellions are like the icing on the cake for this build. You know, the Hellions show up, they kill 13 drones. It's like, cool, not only did I kill your entire army, I've also put your economy in a position you can't recover from. Congratulations. I mean, especially when the Lings were out of position chasing those Hellions down in the first place, the fact they were then able to survive that, crazy. Stim is now done, I believe, and so this Ling counterattack should not be an issue. In fact, ByuN loads up straight away, and he's going to take these medevacs across the map, so away they go. Just going to be a couple of drops to try and make something happen. Still going to try and play catch-up. Now, one thing he's got is 1-1 upgrades. Those upgrades are extremely late for ByuN, and more so because he forgot to start +1 armor. So, there are mistakes here for ByuN. His own third base not mining just yet. That's not a mistake. That's just the way this build works. It's obviously going to come in later than usual. So, you know, some things to look at. But Solar loses an Overlord. You know, it's the little things right now that you can't really afford to have happen. And unfortunately, ByuN is picking up on those little things. A bit of creep spread, an Overlord kill. These few Zerglings will get picked off for free. It's all adding up. Extra banelings of Solar in the bottom right. Just come in and just gonna have the Medivacs lifting up and going up the side. The rest of this from ByuN will gather over on the left, and just going to be seeing a bit of a push forward here. We have the Lings fought pretty quickly. Obviously, I mean, splitting the army up a little bit. This double drop on the right, this army through the center. Neither army is like a huge, let's, you know, straight up fight sort of army. Hey, but that means this is also going to leave an opening for Solar to get across, and I mean, those are Lings that have no answer to them on the map right now. I mean, answer on the map, and literally on the map, not here back at home, though. You're going to stim home, they're going to start to get the catch. He loses the depot as well, let SCVs back out. Orbital Command has to lift up, but 9 SCVs killed. I mean, those are the plays you make as Solar to get back in this for sure. These Marines show up, Banelings are here though, and that's time to lift up and leave. He's going to finally about to get Combat Shield. He finally started +1 armor as he started +2 attack, so again, that's something he continues to trail in. Losing another Widowmine, ByuN is definitely not making this easy on himself. It's, I don't think it's ByuN's fault, actually. I think it's Solar. Solar is playing a pretty fantastic game at the moment. He's playing a really fantastic game at the moment. Look, down in the main hive is on the way. The Hellbat's going to split up. Marine's going to pull back. Baneling's still connecting through with the Marines. Showing up from the top side, and those Lings will continue to be pushed away. Now Marines dropping into the bottom side here as well. Ling Bane runs into it and able to get a couple of connections so far. That's just going to be seeing our Marines of ByuN still moving into the center here. Ling Bane will show up yet again, and it's another lift. It's another chance to get away from this. Alright, well, ByuN's giving up the aggro. I mean, he is obviously switched up into Widow Mines. I would love to see. This second factory was building, right? I was just checking to see if it was still there, and it is, which is very important because he needs to start going in towards, like, probably siege tanks, really, against these lurkers that are on the way up. 10 drones killed by the Liberators over in the main base, I mean, and the natural. So that's 2 mineral lines that are not currently mining, and this Marine drop's going to stop this mineral line from mining. Well, Solar's just not mining right now. His income is going to drop so low. I mean, that is crazy. Finally going to clean up in the natural. Main base is still going to deny. A Hydra shows up. I mean, that's just free pickings. You don't want to be losing Hydras here. That's expensive. And the Widow Mine that burrows the Ling Bane. Trying to stay back. A couple Widow Mines, not really super effective. And in the end, ByuN just lifts and gets out of there. There's nothing to punish him from just lifting and leaving. You know, there's no Mutilas to chase these Medivacs down. The Hydras aren't yet out in good numbers, so you can't abduct these Medivacs into anything. ByuN keeping up the aggression, but he's got to slow this down when he realizes there are lurkers. You can't just go running into lurkers like he's playing right now. If he can find openings around the lurkers, sure, and that's probably going to happen until we get to 10 or so lurkers. But at that point, it becomes very difficult to find openings in a matchup like this one. Against someone as good as Solar, just, he knows where he needs those lurkers, he knows where he needs to defend. This Widow Mine's slow to burrow, but he is going to get them burrowed, and now they're going to go off on all sorts. Good splits from Solar to minimize the damage. He finds his way around this set of lurkers already for 5 drones, and a few more Lings will try and drop back up into the main base. Solar is just dancing around the map to try and deal with this. From one way to the other, it's a change of direction every second, it feels like. Back on the right side now, we've got these Widow Mines actually protected, never went down. As the lurkers try to get here, finally going to get those Widow Mines before we see them recharging and going again. That obviously would have been problematic as these lurkers get burrowed up. The Medivacs have to leave. +2 armor, +3 attack on the way on the engineering base. Marines on the left side. Gonna load back into the Medivacs also. Over on the right, these few Medivacs gonna be loading up to go once again. Command center to go to the 4th base. They're going to come around the bottom corner. Definitely can get a drop in behind this mineral line. At the same time, we've got Ling Bane on the left, which Medivacs are going to escape away from too. This is actually kind of bad. Parasitic bombs, and those are 2 dead Medivacs. Yeah, full of Marines as well. That's actually a pretty big pickup for Solar. Widow Mines initially here doing okay. In fact, doing very well. Getting a lot of Lings clustered up together. It's one Medivac that gets into the natural will unload and at least start the trade out. Yeah, ByuN's definitely been slowed down, but he still isn't really transitioning. And that's why I get a little bit worried, because he's starting to get some damage here again, but it's been a while since he really got anything done, anything major done. So I'm just a bit worried that he's in a position where if he isn't careful, he runs out of steam, and then Solar's army just looks really good and just overruns him. It's a nice little split against those lurkers. Concussive Shell's in place, so he can catch one of them with ease, but he doesn't chase it. He instead focuses on the base, and if he can kill this off, it's just an important denial of mining for Solar. And honestly, he's not wrong. He's getting a lot of units that are just flying overhead. Overlords, Overseers. Now he'll get a lot of the drones that run out here to escape. Complete cleanup from ByuN in the bottom right. That was not so pretty for Solar at all. After Solar feels like he's had a good few moments. This is a big win for ByuN when he needed one. I can't believe ByuN's still building Widow Mines, by the way. In what world do you still build Widow Mines against Hydra Lurker? But apparently that's how ByuN wants to play it. He wants to keep his army super mobile, doesn't want to have to siege it up again and again. He wants to keep this game moving. He wants to keep this game fluid at the moment. Single Marine on the bottom side, picking away at the extractor. That's just left over there. And you have the single Marine, a couple of Marines, sorry, dropping down. Drones taking some damage. Lings are going to run in. The Marines in some trouble, and the rest of this Bioforce from ByuN pushing through, and a couple of creep tumors already picked off. The Widow Mine shot is amazing. And the second Widow Mine shot is good as well. I mean, the Widow Mines are still good against the Ling Bane, obviously. It's the lurkers that they don't really help against. The multi-prong is just too much. I mean, you go to this right-hand side, that's the Hydra Den that just went down. So you can't make more Hydras to then make lurkers with. It's fallen apart a little bit now. This is still a 4-base Solar, with some of the fresher bases of the game over on this left-hand side. So it's not a done deal just yet, but he needs to start finding some better fights. Otherwise, ByuN is going to continue to run away with this game. A 7,000 resource loss difference. In a game where, honestly, once the lurkers got up, I really expected that to turn around a bit, but it really hasn't. It stayed the same, and now these lurkers are being caught without the support they need to stay alive, so they are taking heavy hits. Yeah. Ling Bane Hydra Lurker coming through, gonna clean up once again, but I mean, my question now is becoming, when is the next army of ByuN gonna show up? Well, there it is, already stimming down the left. You knew it was gonna be over here. Liberator sieges up on a Spore Force, the drones to pull away. What's up? There's still Widow Mines already burrowed here from earlier, and against that chaos, Solar can't find himself a moment to properly clean up like he should be, and those are losses which are, just gonna add up. Widow Mines firing twice, it's efficiency that you're already behind on, and then you're only going to, struggle to deal with it. That's how you're playing. And so, again, not really any fault of his own. It's more so just ByuN is kept this game. I'm impressed because I genuinely believed he needed to slow it down and tech up against these lurkers, but he slowed down like a tiniest amount to get a bit more army going, and then he's just kept doing more of the same. And genuinely, I mean, impressive on both sides for Solar to have survived so long anyway in the first place. He was definitely behind off that opening of ByuN, and well, and then impressive from ByuN to realistically put us into a position now where he kept it going against someone who got to the lurkers. That doesn't happen a lot. We've seen so many Terrans who are ahead think they can still end the game as they play against lurkers. They just keep on fighting, and then it just turns around. Everyone complains Zerg is OP or something stupid, and that's the way it goes, but not here. ByuN makes it work out. Gets down to the low ground. Hatchery going to be picked away at as well. It's going to be seen our lurk as well. Continue to push forward as they go in for the depots. Things going to jump on the factory. Medivac's going to jump up into the main. I mean, you guys can see what's happening. It's just this army here that's making things awkward, but ByuN's still mining up to the right side. He just has to get rid of these libs, these lurkers, and eventually he will, because he's getting liberators to do that with. So this attack doesn't last forever for Solar. And it's not like Solar's really minding either. There are 3 lurkers defensively at home. 3 lurkers defensively at home. I mean, this base is actually undefended if ByuN was just to find the chance to fly over there. Liberator's going to set up defensively on the planetary, so he's going to Solar try and go the other way. Io's probably just going to fight this now, at least a little bit. He gets one of the lurkers. And not really like Solar is in a position to rebuild. Another couple of libs going to show up, getting on top of this. GG is called, and ByuN going to take the 2-0 off of Solar. It will take that one down, pick up the win. And that is going to be that. GG's. Good series from ByuN. Again, kind of couldn't end the game after taking the lead initially, but really really provided an excellent game after that anyway. And that first map with the Reapers, always fun to watch. GG's. ByuN takes a 2-0 over Solar here in the Fallen Leaves.